Hi guys, my name is Michelle Keane and today I'm going to be talking to you about my top 7 books for someone starting out in Wicca or witchcraft. Number 7 on the list is Moon Magic. This is a really great book for someone who wants to get into like the cycles of the moon, days of the week, just the timing of spells and the associations with certain times. It also gets into a lot of meditation techniques and such like that. It's a really good book, and the only reason it's this far down the list is because it's based on an aspect of witchcraft rather than witchcraft and Wicca as a whole. But it's definitely a fantastic book if you want to get into harnessing the magic of the moon. Number 6 on my list is Wikipedia. This was a very enjoyable book to read. There's a lot of beautiful pictures. There's a lot of interesting aspects that it goes into. The only reason it's so low is because it focuses on angelic Wicca, which is a very specific part of Wicca. And there's a couple of things I don't fully agree with, but it's a really good book to start out with. It goes into a little bit of numerology, not much, but a little bit. It talks about hand fastings, which doesn't really come into effect in many other books. It has a really brief section on crystals. There are a couple of things that don't really sit right with me, but most of it is really, really good. It also goes into things like using technology in your magic, such as emails, texting, using a microwave to charge a spell, which is very, very interesting stuff. So it's worth a read. It's just not my favourite, but it's a really good read anyway. So number 5 on my list, I don't actually have a hard copy of it. I have it as a PDF, and that is, I'm going to read it from here, Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. This is a really in-depth book. It's insane. The only reason it's a bit low is because it's from a different time. It's from a different era. It's very traditional. It'll say you have to wear this, you have to have your altar pointing north, you have, I can't remember what it says, but yeah, it's very specific. It's like, if you want to do a spell right, you have to do it this way, you have to have these on your altar, you have to be wearing a certain type of fabric, but otherwise it is a really in-depth look at everything, all aspects of witchcraft. It's worth a read, but don't take it as law. Just think, okay, I like this part of it, this is interesting, but I'm not sure if I want to incorporate that, because truth be told, your craft is your craft, so you can pick and choose different parts of what you believe resonates with you. But the Complete Book of Witchcraft is just a really good book to give you an in-depth oversight over everything, and especially how it was not in a modern sense. Modern times have really changed Wicca and witchcraft, but this just gives you a look of where it came from. Number 4 on my list is probably one of my favourite books about witchcraft, and it is The Green Witch. So this gives you, it sort of talks about Wicca a little bit, it sort of mentions it in passing, but it mainly talks about the Green Witch path. So in witchcraft there's many different paths you can take. A lot of people just go with the eclectic path, which is you choose your own path sort of thing. But there's other paths such as the Green Witch and Kitchen Witch and such like that. So this one gives you an idea about using nature in your witchcraft. It talks about herbs, flowers, essential oils. It talks about meditating with the seasons, little rituals you can do with those. It talks about how to harvest things. It talks about the magic of the trees and just attuning yourself with nature in general. It is a really good read. It just doesn't really cover a wide aspect. It stays pretty situated in nature magic. So the next one on my list was probably the 3rd book I got in witchcraft, The Modern Guide to Witchcraft. So this is sort of your first look at someone who's taken witchcraft in this time period. So it's a very positive sort of book, gives you a wide range of different things to think about. It also talks about different aspects of, don't know if you call it witchcraft, but magic in general. So it talks about shamanism, sorcerers, druids, such like that. It talks about concepts that you don't see in other books, such as sex magic. It goes for a whole bunch of things. One of the things that really helped me when I was starting out, it goes through a whole bunch of different spells. It's got billions of spells. It's insane. So if I go to the contents page, it's also really pretty to look at. The font is amazing. Alrighty, so part 2 of this book is called The Open Grimoire, and it's got spells of all these different things. I'll see if you can read that, otherwise I'll put a screenshot in. So it goes through everything, and it's insane. So when you first start, there's a good chance you're gonna have no idea how to perform spells. You're gonna be like, what am I doing? Am I doing it wrong? This will go through, let me show you. This one, for example, it'll show you the ingredients, it'll show you what time to do it at, the best time to perform it, and it'll tell you all of the steps to do it as well. So it's a really good book if you're looking to get into spell work and you just don't know where to start. The next one on my list, number 2, is the newest book I've got in witchcraft, and it is Wicca by Harmony Nice. This is a really good book because it goes through all the aspects of Wicca, but it's also in a modern sense. She talks about how it can help with your confidence, self-love. She talks about, the importance of kindness and such like that. She goes through the different moons, the Sabbats. It's a really positive book to read, and it's got a lot of good information. She goes through in detail about the colours, about certain crystals, which you don't typically see. A lot of these books will have like a really brief list of crystals. She goes through quite a few of them, and she talks about how to cleanse the crystals and choosing them and such like that. She talks about what to do when people don't accept your path, when they don't accept you being a witch and such like that, how to deal with that. She talks about being a Wiccan in a city where, there's not much nature, it's all concrete and such like that. And she talks about, different situations that might affect you, such as not having a garden, living in accommodation that don't allow candles, what you can do instead. It's a really in-depth book. It also goes into deities, which you don't see very often. And it gives you a broad sense of all of Wicca, all of witchcraft, or most of it anyway, in a modern sense. So number 1 on my list is the book that I would recommend to everyone to read. It is Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. This is the first book I ever read on Wicca, and it's what got me hooked. And it's seen a lot of love and roughness from all the stains I've got on it from using it all the time. This goes through everything. It's insane, but it doesn't go into too much detail that you're overwhelmed. It's a really easy read. It talks about working with energy and being able to project and recept energy as well. It goes through initiation. This is an older book, so most Wiccans nowadays probably won't go through initiation and such unless they're going into a coven, but it reads like a new book. It reads like a modern book. It's very ahead of the times. And it's very easy to read. He sort of talks to you rather than blurring out information. It goes through visualization, it has rituals for the Sabbats, and it also talks about what the Sabbats mean. It has a bunch of invocations and chantings and such. It briefly goes through colours. It's got recipes for incenses and recipes for food, such as crescent cakes. It goes through herbs of the Sabbats, it goes through offerings, it goes through offerings for certain deities as well. It talks about runes a little bit. It has a brief section on spells. It talks about the circles, stones, how to prepare for ritual. music, dance and gesture. It talks about different tools, so your Crucible Spear, your Cup, Book of Shadows, Pentacle, the Magic Knife, such like that. It goes through everything and it gives you a really good insight when you're first starting out and you've got no idea what you're doing. This is a really good book to start off with. It also has, there is a, I don't know if you call it a sequel to this book called Living Wicca, which is also worth a read, but this is the one I'd recommend. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that gave you an idea of some books that you might want to get into. This is an incomplete list. This is based off the books that I've read. If you have any book recommendations for witchcraft and Wicca, put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from more recommendations so I can read some more books. And I hope you really enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. And for any newcomers into witchcraft, I hope you're really excited to start your journey. I'm rooting for you. This is quite a spectacular thing that you're doing, and I hope you learn as much as you can and take it all in and really have a good time and enjoy it all. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.